Peace, front true believers. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds. We are the weekly show where two nerds gather around and bring you the latest nerdy news, reviews, and occasionally pitch things. I am Cap, and joining me today is always best friend, fellow nerd, and genie in a bottle. You just have to rub the right way, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing? And I don't know why our little boxes here are off with our screen captures. Oh no. Hold on,
Our boxes are off.
yeah, for the camera. There we go. Now I'm just readjusting the. There we go. Haha. Better. Anyways,
Get
hi.
the flux capacitor in the correct orientation.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes. Anyways, good morning. What do we have today? We are talking about. I saw Spider-Verse and it was amazing. The youngin
Okay.
saw The Flash. She will talk about her review. I finally got around to seeing Shazam. What do we else? What else do we have? We have a Unicorn Warriors Eternal, which it looks like that wasn't the last episode.
Yeah, that's
So-
my bad. I was listening to someone discuss the show,
Mhm.
and they said, they're like 8 episodes, and I was like, oh, so there's an 8 episode run,
Mm.
but they meant 8 more episodes.
Oh,
and
okay. That's a
and
good
that was
number.
why it was my bad. I misunderstood. I went because I was like, what the fuck, and I went and looked up that interview,
Right.
and I was like, there's a way you say things, like,
So,
Uh,
it's so good. It's so good.
it really was good. Yeah, I'm glad we got 2 more episodes. Pretty happy about that.
Mm.
But yeah,
Also talking
let's
about
see.
this week's Behold Nerds Enemy.
And then we got Battle Nerds. He-Man takes on Mando.
He-Man.
And then nerdy news. Even though we haven't seen it, I do have some interesting information on Flash and nerdy news.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Let's see. Hang on, I'm just kind of still. I just woke up. There's some nerdy news for you. I hurt my leg this week with all my other health problems. It's definitely been a bit of a challenging couple of days. I think I've talked about it before. I get really dizzy from my meds, and I had a bad fall.
Yes.
Not fun.
Yeah. So anyways.
But I'm here. I managed to fight through it, and I managed to curate us some nerdy news and think about how He-Man can defeat Mando, although you made it a lot more even by picking the Dolph Lundgren He-Man.
Right.
And we're also, like you mentioned, we're talking enemy. That was because of our fellow nerd
Mm-hmm.
at Rob. Let me get your full thing in here. At Rob097. Thank you for the suggestion. And so we will be discussing that. I know you were wanting to get our opinion. We always appreciate that. We love when you guys are throw out suggestions to us. Those always take priority too. So if there's a movie you want us to watch, then we will watch it.
Yes. Anyway, shall we dive into some nerdy news? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say most movies, though. Certain movies just due to content we wouldn't review. All right, so nerdy news. Let's jump in. So we talked about this briefly. I wasn't totally right when I talked to you earlier this week, Cap. It's a rumor based on evidence, but suddenly the Hulk has appeared on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So the theory is that the rights for Hulk, and a lot of different places have reported this,
Right.
but it's only a theory. The rights for Hulk have reverted from Universal back to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys don't know this, one of the reasons we haven't had a solo Hulk movie done under, technically there is one, but not really. It's because Universal owns the distribution rights for Hulk.
Right.
And they allow Disney to use him in their in their shows and movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit different for the shows than it is movies. It's really like a muddy thing. I'm sure someone understands it better than me.
Yeah, yeah.
But now they're obviously it's on their platform. So, and then they hinted at some solo Hulk projects in She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing. Because remember, like, we meet his son, and he's like,
Right.
"Oh, I gotta go. My planet needs me now." Whoop.
Whoop.
In the starship.
Yeah.
So, which heavily implied Planet
Planet
Hulk,
Hulk.
which obviously
World
there
War
did
Hulk.
sort of Planet Hulk. Well, no, I don't see World War Hulk because he's the professor. He's not like this pissed off, "Oh, you blew up my planet" kind of
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
So, but definitely elements of Planet Hulk, and I guess World War Hulk because you have Sakaar and all that.
Right.
Um,
That's kind of what I was thinking.
or I mean, yeah. So yeah, there's definitely elements of all this.
Right.
What do you think? Are you excited? I mean, if that is true, are you like, what are your thoughts?
So the problem with Hulk is that I think the MCU handled Hulk fine with him sort of being like a background character, because when you have a character like that, it's either good. It's hard to find that balance between the how much do we show Banner versus how much do we show the Hulk. I mean, that was sort of the problem with the first two. It was just kind of boring, I guess, because it's more of like an emotional thing rather than a brah.
Right, he's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah,
His whole shtick. Yeah, I mean, but then again, I mean, like, you could do something like World War Hulk, where he's not stupid, but he's still like, or or
Yeah.
you can do what they went with, which was Professor Hulk. I know some of our viewers don't like Professor Hulk, or not so much comic book Professor Hulk. They didn't like the way Marvel did it.
Mm.
But yeah, I thought it was all right. The girl I was dating at the time really liked that version of the Hulk. That was her favorite MCU version of the Hulk.
Right.
I don't think I ever heard her laugh as hard as when like Rogers is like Hulk smash, and he's like, rips his shirt off and then pushes the car down. Yeah, she just loved that. Like, it's one of those times you hear someone laugh and you've heard them laugh 100 times, but you're like, damn, I ain't never heard you laugh like that.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm down for some for them to get the Hulk and do some solo Hulk stuff. That would be totally.
It'd be cool to see like have Red Hulk be the villain and have the two of them just have the big fight at the end. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'd like to see
if they do it. I'd like to see it with Red Hulk.
I love Red Hulk. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just the way he looks. I think he looks so much more badass.
Oh yeah. Hulk. It's the haircut, right? It's the haircut.
Yeah, and the eyes, and the fact that he gets hotter the angrier he is, so he like melts through things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig him as a character, but I would like to see him like beat the shit out of his way through the Avengers first. Just ending people left and right.
Right.
And then maybe have Green Hulk show up. Let's see what else. We reported this last week. I don't know if this is a correction or just more information because the source was good. But we were talking about how the Illumination is developing a Legend of Zelda movie. Their CEO came out, Chris Melandandri, and denies that they're developing that. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not true, but
yeah.
I mean, at the same time, I would take the Zelda rumor with a grain of salt.
It's inevitable for them to make just off the success of Mario, and they can build their own Nintendo Cinematic Universe. They already introduced Donkey Kong from what we've seen in the trailers. I haven't seen the movie yet, but absolutely they're going to bring in fucking Link and all of them, and that's going to be like their Civil War moment. Is all of them having to fight each other
in Smash Bros.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that is their Civil War moment. At least in my Nintendo Cinematic Universe, that's how you get the heroes to fight each other.
You do a Smash Bros. Movie,
right?
Did you ever play any of the Smash Bros. Games?
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
What do you like them?
So, I think the superior Smash Brothers game was the one for the GameCube. I think that one had the best combat, the best levels. I think that was great. The
So
the
I
the
had never played the series,
mhm,
and but I bought a Switch,
mhm,
and everybody, and I love fighter games. I'm a massive Soul Calibur nerd.
yep,
I can I'm pretty damn good at it. Um, and so I was really excited because I like fighting games, and I got it. And this is one of those like
button
people like
mash
come at
fighter
me with
game.
pitchforks.
Mhm,
I didn't care for it that much. It wasn't my jam. I tried. I played. I was mostly playing the solo gameplay, trying to unlock all the characters,
mhm,
and yeah, I just was like, I, "What's this?" I mean, they give you Kirby to start with,
mhm,
and then you got to unlock characters from there.
mhm.
And I played Kirby almost exclusively, but I never had that like yeah feeling. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
So
I don't know.
I like I like Link. I was really good with Link, and then um, I was okay with Fox. He's a little bit harder to use. It's there's a way to be really tactical in the game. It's just not the way that you do it. Where like Soul Calibur or something like that, or Tekken, it's very, you're very coordinated with the moves.
Mhm.
You throw a punch, and then you can, based on how your body's pivoted and moved, you follow through with another thing. It's not like that. You're very good at games like that. Very very technical fighter games. This is just a forward hold B release
Yeah,
type thing.
but I mean, like I'm okay at like like Street Fighter and things like that too.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Which is more like that. Soul Calibur actually, it's more like you have your attacks, and then it's how you point your stick and where
mm,
your placement is,
mm,
and then the more technical stuff like depends on the character you play.
mm,
I'm a Siegfried main. Siegfried is technical, but his is stances.
mm,
You move in, you shift into different stances and then attack,
mm.
and then each stance has its own thing. Um, what's his the guy I've played most in that game? He said my style is I knock you on the ground
Mm.
and then I punish you. Um, I remember I was playing oh god, I forget. I think it's Soul Calibur 2, maybe 3,
Mm,
maybe 4, I don't know.
mm,
They all blur together.
right.
But in one they brought in Vader,
Mm-hmm. And Yoda.
um Yoda, depending on which version you buy, and then regardless of which version you got Starkiller.
Mm,
And I was playing online against just random people, and this girl, because we had our headsets on,
mm-hmm.
she was playing Yoda, and like part of me was like, oh, she's new, but the other part of me is like, you don't pick Yoda. That's like because he's too short, so like your
Right.
attacks would sail over his
Yeah,
head, and you couldn't grab him.
he's what's his name? Slapjaw or whatever.
Odd job, yeah, he's
Odd
the odd
job.
job
Yeah,
character,
odd
yeah.
job.
And so I just annihilated her. And then I had this showboating move I would do, like because before the camera would cut away,
Mm,
if you're playing Siegfried, you could press down and kick, and you just start stomping the shit out of people.
mm.
And so when they were dead, I just start bam, 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 and like and I did it to her, and she was like, "Oh my god, okay, I get it, I won't play Yoda." I was just like,
Stop!
yeah, it
Stop!
was kind of funny because it's just Siegfried, this dude with this massive sword,
Right.
just
I'm just curb
stomping the
stomping
shit
the
out of
face
Yoda, like, and he's like making the like, like,
Remember the first Mortal Kombat where you can just sweep the legs and sweep the legs and sweep the legs?
yeah.
And I think the new movie they made fun of that. Yeah, they
You
did, didn't they?
could, if you were a good player, though, you could overcome that. I mean, but yeah, new players, you could just repeatedly do that.
Right.
Um, oh, like the way it was kind of, with the exception of the hidden character in that game, what was it, Reptile?
Reptile. Yeah.
All you had to do to beat the original Mortal Kombat is, I mean, it's against computer, so it doesn't really matter, but
Right.
just jump back, jump forward, jump kick, jump back, jump forward, jump kick.
Right.
You could just clear the entire game with that. Like, I always thought it was dumb though. Like people would be like, "Oh, I beat it." Yeah, it's a fighter.
Right.
The
That's
point
good.
is, you fight other people.
Right. Oh, that was a fun game though. See,
It was good.
I had the Super Nintendo version that didn't have the blood.
Yeah,
It,
ABAC select start. That was the
ah,
code on
the, the
the
Sega.
Sega to
Yep.
turn on blood.
Right. Oh, see, I never
Yeah.
had a Sega, so I never memorized that code. Ah.
It was just I've typed it in every time you start the game. ABACABB8 select start,
Mm,
and then and then it'll go. Boom, dun, 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 welcome to Mortal Kombat. And
nice.
then, like the words would change to red.
Nice.
Like, I had a friend though. He made fun of me because I had asked my dad if I could turn it on.
Mhm.
And I ran up. I was like, Dad, can I turn on the blood code in Mortal Kombat? And he's like, Yeah. And then next to school, he's like, he had to ask his dad. And
Wow. I mean,
I was like, yeah, but I didn't want to be playing it and him to come in and be like, what the hell, like
right.
whatever. Anyway, so what else we got going on? I put this in because you're a fan of hers. Linda Hamilton. Apparently, she's going to be in the final season of Stranger Things.
Ooh. Oh,
Yeah.
she's
Are
perfect.
you? Yeah, I know. I
Oh,
think
she's
both me and
perfect.
you like Stranger Things. It's a good show. We
Right.
watch each every season. You know what I like about Stranger Things, and I don't know why this one gets a pass and other shows don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't have a problem recapping it in my brain, whereas some shows I do. But I could, if it came out tomorrow, I pretty much remember
You
everything that
remember
happened in
everything that
season
happened.
two.
You know what's funny? It's kind of the same way with me too. Like there are a lot of shows that I've watched where it's a week later it'd be like, yeah, I watched this thing. It just didn't retain anything. But
Yeah,
with Stranger Things, it'd be like, yeah, this happened, and then this guy, and then Metallica. So yeah, I
I
mean,
think
it's just a
like that
great
was a
show.
part of your problem with The Witcher, right? You watched season one
Yeah,
and then you
it
were in
just
there.
so yeah, Witcher just didn't stick with me. It wasn't bad. It just didn't
It's the gap in
sing with me.
between seasons. Happens to me all the time. Umbrella Academy was one for me.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that's and it's usually Netflix shows.
Mm. Yeah, it is,
Uh,
isn't it?
I don't know. I guess maybe they're over complex, which I don't feel like they are when I'm watching them. So
So I know you
um,
don't really watch the show, but there's a. It's based off the animated thing Big Mouth on Netflix, which I'm a huge fan of. It's not for everybody. It's awful, but there's a
I've
spinoff.
heard. I know like there's a character who's all about masturbation and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's funny. It's every imagine our personalities broken down into invisible creatures, and that's how they're sort of represented. So you have
Hmm.
Maurice who's the hormone monster, and he's just the horniest horn dog, and he's my spirit animal. He's so goddamn funny. And then there's his wife companion named Constance, and it's funny. So the two of them in this season. So there's a Human Resources is a spinoff, and the season 2 just dropped, and I've forgotten almost everything that happened in season 1. Like there's a recap, and I'm watching this like, wait, what happened? What? But oh, it's so good. We still have a couple episodes to get through, but it's so good.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of it, and I mean, I don't think I really gave the show a fair chance. It's probably, I'm sure it is good, but yeah, I
It's
just
one of
watched a
those
little
things
bit.
where it suffers from sort of one of those syndromes like Rick and Morty, where at face value it looks like this, but if you peel back a couple layers, it's a lot deeper than what it really. It's deeper than what it really should be, considering
Right.
the material. Like South Park's the same way, where it's on the surface level, it's just so perverse and so extreme.
It is,
But
but South Park is very blunt in its metaphors. Like I can break down every episode of South Park into um
the message,
there's some kind of message
right,
based on what's going on right now.
right,
They use a metaphor for it, like, and then and it's usually something vulgar and disgusting.
right,
And then at the end, everyone realizes the message, and then it's just South Park is almost. Don't get me wrong, I think South Park is an amazing show, but I think it's Trey Parker and Matt Stone's their kind of voicing ground for their opinions.
right,
Um, and yeah, that's I think that's just how South Park rolls. That's just their formula.
right,
And I mean, to be fair, they've mentioned in interviews that that's what their fans respond to. So,
Right.
um,
If it ain't broke.
the one thing I don't like about South Park, if I had to pick one thing,
Mm.
is people like big South Park fans.
Mm.
They align their identity to what Trey Parker and Matt Stone believe, and they like reference it like that's the right way for things to be. And it's like, and it's like I mean, there's plenty of times I watch South Park where I'm like, I totally agree with these guys. They're making total sense.
Right.
But I mean, it's not like my personality, you know what I mean? It's not like that their beliefs are my beliefs, you know.
Right.
I don't know. That's a minor thing. I always think that fandoms can be like. I mean, Rick and Morty has a problematic fandom too.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys like Rob who watches and follows their shows. Awesome guy. He's a big Snyder fan. He's an awesome. But then there's like the Snyder fans that are less than awesome, you know, and like.
Right. There's a sinker in every bowl.
I'm hoping that one day we'll get our own toxic fans.
No, God, you put it out there. So I'm going to pause real
No, but
quick.
if we're that big that we have that small group,
I am going to go grab my coffee, and I'm going to I'll tell you about my first toxic fan from my previous life on YouTube. I'll be right back. Tell that one joke about the cheerleader.
I don't know what joke he's talking about, but we can review. If you guys don't follow the VOT Twitter account, for those of you on YouTube, at VOT Intel, or capital INTL, their Twitter account is probably my favorite. The parody in it is just so strong. As you guys know, it's Father's Day. They tweeted out, "This Father's Day, we honor a dad who'd do anything to protect his son. From attending every baseball game to one-on-one fight training on the roof, Homelander is a model parent for us all. Donate to #HomeFree Legal Defense Fund to make sure Ryan always gets a hug good night." It's hilarious, and there's so many more. You guys, check them out. The stuff they put out is just brilliant. Excellent parody. Now, Cap is back.
I have my coffee.
Sweet.
Oh man, that joke was funny. Anyway,
I was talking about the VOT Twitter account. I sent you a link. I don't know if you saw it yet.
No, I just pulled it up. So
it's them celebrating Father's Day. They're saying like donate to #HomeFree so that Ryan always gets a hug good night.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's perfect. You know what's funny? People still won't see that as satire, and that's
yeah, I know. There's a we were just talking about that. Okay. Also, James Gunn has been doing screen tests for Superman Legacy, so we have some names here. I recognized one of these people, but I'm gonna read them all off for you. Nicholas Hoult, David Corenswet, and Tom Brittany. They are all screen testing to play Superman. And then for Lois Lane, it's Emma McKay, Phoebe Diviner, and Rachel Brosnahan. I apologize if I messed those up. Nicholas Hoult, I know that guy. He was the guy in Fury Road. The not what's his name, but the other main character, the main male character in that movie.
Vin Diesel.
No, dude, Fury Road.
Oh, Fury Road. Oh. Vin Diesel.
What were you thinking? Like,
no, what's her name?
Not Mad Max, but
Furiosa.
Furiosa. No. You didn't hear any of this, did you?
No, I was sorry. I
Nicholas
heard
Nicholas Hoult.
Yes.
From Fury Road.
Yes.
Not Mad Max, but the other main male character.
Okay.
The guy that's got his face sprayed.
The spray painted guy. Okay.
Yeah, he's also in Warm Bodies. He played the love interest.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. So
that was a good movie.
That guy. He's screen testing to play Superman Legacy along with the other names I listed. So yeah, I don't know. Can you see that guy as Superman?
I can't really wrap my I can't picture his face in my head right this second, but
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I've seen him in things. Warm Bodies was a good movie. Like, I have a vague. Is he kind of skinny though? I mean, I guess he could always bulk
Yeah,
up.
he wasn't that. I mean, because he played a zombie.
Zombie.
I'm sure they'll make him buff up.
Yeah.
And I guess all these guys seemed a little young to me, but then again, Gunn said he wanted a younger Superman.
Yeah.
I am fine if they go with someone I totally don't know, like any of these other names, because I kind of like it when you don't know the actor. Because
Right.
there's no, you're not seeing that actor, you're seeing the character.
Right.
Though I guess the MCU actors are kind of complaining about that because they're known as their characters more than they are themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good and bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so there's a new DC animated series in the works. This sounds awesome to me. Beast Boy Lone Wolf. It's going to be done by Hanna-Barbera Studios.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what. So Hanna-Barbera. I wonder if they're going to go more of like the. I wonder what kind of style they're going to use because they could go like old school, like Scooby Doo style.
I think it's going to be more like a kind of, I don't know about the totally, but more in the Young Justice vibe.
Okay, I'm down for that.
I mean, are you a Beast Boy fan?
I mean, I liked him in Young Justice. I didn't really read too much of him, but I know the character enough.
I read the couple of books that he's been in. I liked him in Teen Titans. That was like my first real exposure to him, the animated series.
Yeah.
And
I think that was mine too.
Despite him not being the most powerful, his power set is one that I just really like. You know?
It's very handy.
Yeah, and just like when he quickly changes between forms and stuff, and the fact that he can
go from like a T-Rex to a flea.
Yeah, and then he's also can transform into alien animals and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah, I liked watching him fight, and like, yeah, a tiny thing turns into a gorilla, punches you, and then you're like, ow, and then all of a sudden T-Rex bites you, throws you, and then like, oh, switching into a freaking falcon following you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. I get that it's not that powerful though when you compare it. Like I remember in another recent animated movie, Young Justice versus Justice League, or Teen Titans versus Justice League. Did you watch that one?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, yeah, they're fighting the Justice League, and like he turns into like a mammoth, and he like runs up, and then one of them just boom and just clocks him, and the mammoth goes down.
Oh shit!
And like, yeah, you knew that was gonna happen, though. Like,
right.
I mean, I did like he was fighting some dude once, and he did one of my favorite moves. He's like, they're all fighting, and then all of a sudden, blue whale.
Just blue whale. He just.
Yeah, and it was like. I like powers like that you can get creative with.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that sounds awesome to me. I'm totally down for an animated series.
That's cool.
Also in the world of the animated series, we're getting a new Batman, right?
Choking on coffee. Animated Batman?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Sorry.
Okay.
Choking on my coffee. Sorry, I got so excited hearing that we're going
to Batman.
What? No.
My nose.
I did not hear that we're getting a new animated Batman.
Yeah, animated Batman series. Batman Cape Crusader is the name. It's being described as everything that Bruce Timm wanted to do in Batman the Animated Series, but because it ran on a kids channel, he wasn't able to do. So
Spawn Batman.
Well, like but Batman it was yeah, he couldn't. It's going to be Batman the Animated Series, but more grown up.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Obviously, the problem is, in my opinion, is Conroy's no longer around.
I know,
but I don't think that I mean, it matters, but there have been other decent Batman voice actors.
So I would say the current voice actor for Harley Quinn, the dude that was on the Drew Carey show, and he was he had a cameo in Shazam. He was the teacher that the ladies got to walk off. I think he's got a good voice for Batman. Like I think because in Harley Quinn he plays it sort of tongue in cheek, but I think if he were to just do the voice but act it differently, I think he'd be perfect.
Yeah,
it's like a
there's
modern.
also been a couple of the animated movies that Conroy didn't do.
Mm,
And some of those voice actors have been solid. Like I wasn't like, oh fuck, you know what I mean?
yeah,
They kind of do an impression of Conroy
Conroy.
a little bit,
Right.
and that I'm kind of okay with that. I don't have an issue with it
Yeah.
because the closer you are to that, the closer you are to the correct Batman to me.
Right.
And yeah, and then so if we did, in my opinion, that would be the way to do it. Get someone who's similar to Conroy,
Mm,
and then yeah, fucking Batman the animated series again, but for people my age.
fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, that sounds awesome. So I'm really looking forward to Batman Cape Crusader. That description just sold me everything that Bruce Timm wanted to do in Batman the animated series, but because it ran on a kids channel, he wasn't able to do it. Like that's shut up and take my money.
Right.
I mean, why am I not watching this shit right now? You know, like
Because
I never even considered it. I hope they do the same art style where they do black paper and then use white.
white to color over it.
Yeah, because I think that gives it a really like interesting look that you don't see
Right.
for the background art. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, it sounds awesome.
I
I mean, what are your thoughts?
do we have a release date?
I don't think so. Let me check.
I'll be giving like a 2 years is usually like the
It
average
might
turnaround
be
between.
coming out sooner than that. Series.
I'm guessing it's coming to Max.
Hold on, I will get more info. I just found it. So let's see. Oh, it's coming out soon.
Oh.
It's going to be in 2023. So this year, it's going to switch from
good.
HBO Max to Amazon. Oh wait, it's saying it's still unclear for the 2023 release. It's switching from HBO to Amazon. I heard about this actually a while back that they're giving it.
Why are they giving it to Amazon?
It's IMDb is reporting that it's still slated for release this year, but they're saying that may have changed. Where is that? Oh, okay. So I got some information on Conroy. So, additionally, the casting suggestion that Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman despite passing away. Wait, hang on. Unfortunately, it's unclear how legitimate this list is. They're talking about the people. And they're saying additionally, but it's possible Conroy could be in it. But I mean, it was created by Tim either way, so he is the guy behind the original series.
Right.
So, featured a Les guys.
It sucks to lose Kevin Conroy. Of all the people the world could have taken, they took Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I mean, there's more information about Bruce Timm saying it pulls inspiration from the animated series, which is one of my top cartoons of all time.
Absolutely.
It holds up to today.
I would hope they treat it similar to the animated series, where it follows Batman and then it slowly introduces the characters one by one, and each character has its own like arc. Like with Two-Face, they introduced Harvey Dent or like early on as Harley Dent, and it wasn't until later where he became Two-Face. So just
they built a world. They built a world.
Yeah. So build the same world, but the origins have changed obviously since then. So just give them the new origins. Tell where like the new origin of Killer Croc, because that's changed. The new Mr. Freeze, that sort of changed a little bit. So
it's so funny when you see like people's like takes on Batman, because everybody's got their own. And like I saw on Twitter, someone's like, "Be honest, this is the reason we all love Batman," and it had a picture of Affleck, and like one of our followers responded with no, and then like a picture of the animated series, right. And it's like, yeah, to me that's why I love. I mean, I guess I could argue if I first was blown away by Keaton's Batman,
right?
And then I started reading comics, but I mean, the animated series to me is
it is a quintessential Batman. That is,
yeah,
because Batman was silly-ish, and then Tim Burton came along and he gave us his like gothic noir Batman.
Well, yeah, but it also depends if you read the comics, because like you can say Frank Miller.
Yeah. But I mean, up until this point, like we had the Adam West Batman, which was silly. It was campy fun. So anyway, I like that they took from that Tim Burton universe and applied it over to the animated series. They even used some of the same music too, which was great.
They did, but I mean, I like I said, I think that Tim Burton pulled his inspiration from the comics because when they were putting out a movie and he was explaining it to Hollywood, he was like, no, 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 I get it, I understand Batman. And he's like, he was trying to explain because they didn't want a campy Batman, and then he was like, no, 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 you don't understand. He understood it because he read the comics, which had that
That's awesome.
like Dark Avenger vibe. But I will totally argue in favor of the more friendly versions of Batman, the more silly versions of Batman, the Batman
Like the Brave and the
Behold
Bold
cartoon.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, all of them they're just as legitimate as people that are like, oh, it needs to be the Dark Avenger style.
Right.
And that's why I argue in favor of the Snyderverse Batman, because it's just another Batman. Yeah, that one murders the shit out of people.
I like Lego Batman with Will Arnett. Lego Batman, he's fantastic.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. All of these are just as legitimate. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're. I do like Lego Batman. He cracked me up. I like how he couldn't hit the thing with the.
Yeah. Yes.
And I like his parody song, Darkness. Yes. No parades.
You're right.
Did he see rich guy makes it better.
Did you see the second Lego movie?
Yeah, it wasn't as good in my opinion.
I thought it was good. I like.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I just don't think it was as good.
I mean, once you have that reveal of how the premise of the movie, how do you really expand on that? And I think, because I mean, obviously the first Lego movie, the big reveal was, it's a reflection of this kid's imagination playing with Legos and blah blah blah. So they already established that you can't really get more meta than that, really. Well, I guess they sort of did with the Velociraptor Chris Pratt guy, but I don't know. I thought it was good. I like the.
I don't think it's not good.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I had a great.
I really liked it.
And me too. I just think the first one is better. I mean, if I was to rate them.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Anyway, so also Batman news. James Gunn, he's chosen as director. Andy Muschietti, the guy who did Flash, he's going to direct Batman Brave and Bold. He said after watching The Flash, Andy's affinity and passion for these characters and this world just resonates through every frame. There was really only one choice.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen Flash. I forget what else he's directed. Whatever it was, I was like, oh, that's a cool movie. Let me pull it up real fast.
Well, my youngling has seen Flash, and she gave it a 7.7 out of 10. I know.
Oh, he also did It and It Chapter 2. Did you watch either of those?
I like the first one a lot better than the second. But
and he's also working on some anime movies, Attack on Titan and Shadow of Colossus.
Ooh.
I know you're a Shadow fan, aren't you?
I always throw his name into the ring, but I think Gendy Tartakovsky could do a fantastic Shadow Colossus like animated show. I think he'd be perfect for it. I mean,
I could totally see him doing that.
Yeah.
But I want to see like a live action one too. I mean, that would be dope.
How would you capture that live action though?
You would do a very artsy style movie, like very little dialogue, and you'd just be following this guy around. You wouldn't be able to do it I don't think that's a film that would work on large budget.
Right.
I think you need a very talented filmmaker with a modest budget to make it amazing. Did you see that movie Colossal, I think it was called?
I might have.
This girl comes back to her hometown. There's a lot of metaphors in this movie, but she comes back to her hometown, and I forget how it happens, but like they if they go onto this playground at this specific time in like Korea, there's like a giant monster version of them,
Oh, I have
and
not seen this. No.
it
I was
turns
thinking
out
something
that
else.
it turns out that they're drunk when it happens and they accidentally knock shit over,
Mm-hmm.
and they kill a bunch of people, and then the next day they see there's this big news report and they put it together eventually,
Mm-hmm.
and then the girl feels real bad, and so she like carves into the ground like, I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy character, he's kind of like this asshole. He's like, you're not leaving me to the girl if you do. And then he goes out there and starts killing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like stuck with that. And she shows up and tries to slap him and like, no. And so the world watches this. So you're kind of watching their relationship unfold, but as these giant monster avatars. It's a really interesting movie.
Weird.
I guess that's what the whole nerds want. It is weird. But it's movie. It's about the core of the movie is about this relationship between her and this guy who's controlling her,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing it by threatening Korea like with a giant robot avatar.
Okay.
That's what I mean. It sounds super weird, but it's interesting. Anyway, where did we come from that?
Legos.
No, we were talking about Annie Machete. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I'm excited to see the Flash. What I have seen of his work, I've liked. So when I see the Flash, I don't know if I'll like it or not, but it looks cool. Also, some information about him. He was talking about the Flash. He was saying that people didn't like. A lot of people are complaining about the VFX. Have you heard this?
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Even my youngling said that the CGI wasn't top tier.
We'll see, but he's saying, and a lot of people are like, bullshit, and maybe it is bullshit, but I don't know, I'm going to just take the guy at his word. He's saying the idea, of course, is we are in the perspective of the Flash. So everything is distorted in terms of light and textures.
Oh.
So it might have been an artistic choice. People are calling bullshit on that. Just saying it was just bad CGI. You're trying to like argue. Right. And look, I have heard people make this argument as a graphic artist. Like, oh, well, it's supposed to look like shit. And it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, it still looks like shit.
Right.
I do, but I mean, I don't know.
You can make it look like shit, but not have it look like shit.
It's hard, though. I don't know. I'm going to save judgment. I'm going to take what he said and then apply it to when I go see it.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet either, but yeah, I reserve judgment. Right. I'm with you. I haven't seen it yet.
You'll like this because you're kind of. I mean, I love the show too, but I think you just have that like, oh my god, it's the best. Rick and Morty.
Yes.
Season 10 is already being discussed.
Yeah. So
we're totally getting more Rick and Morty.
Right. So I had mentioned this earlier this week. Apparently, Justin Roiland is not returning as the voice of everything in Rick and Morty, and that's a shame because he had these charges that were. He was being charged with things, but all of the charges were dismissed. I don't think he.
Yeah, but I think the reason they did that is because even if you ignore the charges,
right.
The stuff that he's been legally charged for, some of his online presence, while not illegal, has been less than favorable.
Right.
And so I think that's why they've decided to cut ties. I'm not too worried about it though, because from what I understand, Harmon is the writer.
Right.
And he does it's Harmon's baby. Harmon, who also has a somewhat problematic past, but whatever.
Right.
And so because he creates it, he does all the work. All you really need to do is get a voice actors that sound similar.
Right. I'm so torn on this. I love the show, and I know it is Harmon's baby, but I don't know. We'll see. It's like with what happened in Ren and Stimpy all those years ago, where the head voice actor for Ren, I forget the guy's name, but he did some questionable things. They got rid of him, and then Billy West came in and started doing the voice for both. So, and it's
some people can't get over it. It never really bothers me.
I don't know. We'll see. I
Like I know you're not a huge. Well, you never really saw it, which became apparent in Battle Nerds, despite your hesitation for it. But the Inuyasha, the first kind of airing of that show ended, and then it never ended. Then we never got an ending,
okay.
and it always kind of sucked. And then they came back with like I forget the title. It was like Inuyasha Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
and that one they had to switch the voice actors. I don't know
Oh.
why, but they did. It might have. It was either for one of the two main characters,
Mm-hmm.
and people didn't. They couldn't get over that. Like I've heard people who like the show were like, I just couldn't get over it, so they stopped watching.
Right.
And I thought it was a shame because I thought the show ended great. It was. I thought the voice act. I didn't even. It was one of those ones where until someone said to me, I couldn't get over that they sounded different. I was like, they were different, you know. Like,
eh, I mean, I don't know, man. Just I. What else have they changed? I'm pretty sure there's other cartoons that have changed
speaking of
voice
which,
acting.
that was one of my most pissed off endings for a show.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this crazy soap opera anime
Mm-hmm.
all the way to the end, and and I'm like, how are they going to end this? And like, it just ends with like them running towards the camera as a group,
Mm-hmm.
and like, we'll never stop fighting. We're gonna bring down what I forget the bad guy's name. We're gonna bring that guy down, and with the music dun 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 dun, dun and I'm like, wait, that's how you ended it? Just saying that you're
Let's
gonna keep fighting?
let's go on another adventure.
Yeah, but then finally they brought in Endgame, or whatever it's called, Final Act or
Yeah.
something, and they all actually do stop the bad guy, and so I was like, okay. And then the characters marry off, and we see like they have kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And since I've tried to watch it, I didn't like it, but there's like they made a new Inuyasha about his children and stuff, but I didn't watch it. I watched a little bit, and I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Didn't they do the same thing with Naruto, where he eventually grew up and had a
yeah,
baby?
yeah, the kid Boruto, and
Yeah.
like I call him Burrito.
Burrito.
But yeah, he has a kid. I tried to watch that one, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I had my story in that world. I don't need to see what your kids do.
Right.
You
Didn't they
know?
do the same thing in Avatar, the Nickelodeon series too, where they aged him up a little bit and?
No, with that, well,
Or am I-
maybe they have since. I don't know, but they did a new Avatar.
Oh, okay.
But she was getting training. No, because Aang would have had to die. So you see Aang as an old man in it, but that's because she's talking to him through that like Avatar ability.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't dislike the idea of a continuation to your children. It's just I don't know. I didn't like any of these.
Right.
I do like I forget her name. Thorun, something like that. But it's Thor's daughter. I like her character.
Is it Torin? Is that how it's pronounced?
Thorun, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of his daughters in the Young Avengers universe. And yeah, like the Avengers, they all died a long time ago, and Thor left, but he left his daughter behind. So it's like the son of Steve Rogers, the daughter of Thor, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And she's kind of the powerhouse of the team, and she has her thing is she has a cool. It looks like the hammer of Thor, but instead there's a big blade out the end.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Big old.
Anyway,
Anyways.
I don't know if you saw this. We got an opening title sequence for My Adventures with Superman. It's gonna premiere on July 6th on Adult Swim.
Oh, I did not see that.
I don't know anything about the show. I just saw this little bit, and I was like, it kind of looks kind of goofy to me. I don't know how good this show's gonna be, but I'll give it a try. Like it kind of looks like very upbeat anime Superman with his anime pals.
Oh.
And I don't know. I'll give it. I mean, it's not silly. It's definitely Americanized.
Okay. It could be like the Superman version of Brave and the Bold. You never know.
I think it's more going for like the Superman version of Avatar.
Oh,
But like I wasn't even able to tell like who his friends were. I'm like, who are these people?
right,
And I mean, I'm sure if I read a synopsis, I would be like, oh, it's that character and that character. But
right.
just looking at them, I'm like,
Who's
who are
that?
these guys hanging out with Superman?
Right.
And like, I watched the title sequence. I'd like to know your opinion
All right.
because I mean, you don't have to do it right now, but like, it's a interesting title sequence. Um, all right. So, also, this is news you'll be interested in. Tarkovsky. We have a first look at his new show, Fixed.
Hmm.
It's starring Adam Devine. He's awesome.
That's cool.
Idris Elba. He's awesome.
Oh,
Catherine Hahn.
ah,
Also
yeah.
awesome. And Frank Amundsen, who's also awesome. So,
There's some
bunch of
pedigree
people I
there.
love.
Wow.
And this is going to be an R-rated adult comedy following a dog who discovers he's going to be neutered in the morning.
And this is a Gendy production.
Yeah, yeah,
I love it.
yeah. I can't wait for this. This
So
sounds awesome.
is this a series or like a one shot or?
No, it's a show. It's an animated. It's a R-rated adult comedy. I guess I don't know if it's a one shot or not,
Nice.
but it sounds awesome.
I
A lot
love
of cool people. I saw the little preview and the dog's like, "Oh no!" and you like, draw his little butthole and. I guess some people are gonna think this is like vulgar or whatever, but I mean, I don't care. That's awesome.
It sounds great. Actually, you know what? I think I might have seen a clip for this at one point. Because I remember seeing an animated like dog show that was just incredibly vulgar, and I was like, "That looks great." Almost like what was that one movie, Sausage Party? Like sort of that type of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's better than Sausage Party. Sausage Party was just nonstop puns, and it was just like,
That's fine.
and they were like all like super racial, like
That's,
like,
that's fine. It was supposed to be. That movie set out to do a thing, and it did it well.
I guess I don't know. It's not that I guess that's just not my humor.
Yeah.
Um, it would have been if I was a kid.
Hmm.
If I was a kid and I saw that, I'd be like, "Oh my fucking god, this is like," like
Right.
yeah. But as a grown up, I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, like,
It's gratuitous, but I
the
like
douche
it.
is the douche,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I did like it when they killed the humans, though. I thought that, like watching it from their point of view,
Yeah.
was kind of interesting. Um. Anyway, so really, that's all I got. Do you have anything else you want to add to the news?
So I have some juicy rumor here. So apparently the MCU is failing right now globally. It's globally failing. Phase 5, Phase 4. It's all been catastrophe. So what they're planning on doing is they're going to retcon the series. I'm going to tell you how. Because if you watch Endgame, there was the second snap. All right. So you had the Hulk snap, and then you had the Tony Stark snap. So what they're thinking is they're going to rewind time back to where it was the first snap before the Tony Stark snap, and that's going to retcon everything so that they can move forward. And they're saying that Banner, because he was in such an emotionally fragile state, was so worried about the women, and that's why the MCU has been focused on the women, is because of Bruce Banner's mental state when he did the snap in that movie. Does it makes all the sense, right?
No, like, that sounds horrible. Like,
So the reason why we have such diversity and female representation in this current MCU state is because of the snap that the Hulk did, because of where his just headspace was
it
at the
just
moment.
sounds like internet bullshit to me, like times 1,000. Um, I mean, yeah, I don't care what anybody says. Their movies are always, they've never been below the top 10 grossing movies of the year, like ever.
Right.
I think like Eternals is the lowest, and it was like eighth. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, I watched Eternals again recently. It's better the second time.
Okay.
The first time I was kind of like, but the second time I'm like, you know what? The action scenes in this are fucking awesome.
They are
I
pretty
just
cool.
think I think it suffers from too much into one movie.
Hmm.
You know, like you're supposed to like, oh, here's the Eternals, and I'm like, there's a lot of characters to introduce to people who've never heard of them. I
Right.
guess they pulled it off of Guardians, but with Guardians followed Peter Quill, and
Right.
you
This one
who is the
followed none
audience
of them.
character?
Right.
Yeah, if they followed one Eternal, but they try to like make them all equals in a lot of ways,
Right. But
and you're
see,
like,
the
oh,
reason why we had all those Eternals, like the Deaf One and everything, was because of where Bruce Banner's mindset was
oh god, no, just stop! I hate
when
that
he
shit.
did the
Come on.
snap.
No, why do
He
we
was.
even have to discuss this bullshit? It just ruins my day. Like, all
And
right. Anyway,
all right, that's the one funny rumor that I heard that I knew that you would
yeah, I
just.
know. I just, oh god, like I said, it just ruins my day. Like I just, like if you're that person on Twitter, like I won't block you, but I will mute you. Unless we are like tight, like friends, and then I will like put up with it. But just know I do not agree. Um, and to be honest, I don't even want to talk about it because it just ruins my day.
Right, but
Um,
if we rewind the clock, that's how they bring
no,
back Tony Stark.
stop! I just requested friendly that we just not go there. Anyway, so what do you want to talk next then? Do you want to do reviews? Do you want to talk enemy? I kind of want to talk enemy. I mean, I
Yeah, we
enjoyed
can talk
that.
enemy. So we
Okay.
behold. No, go ahead.
Okay, well, so but Hold Nerds is our segment we do every week where we take turns picking movies to watch, discuss, hopefully discuss with you guys. This was a fan suggestion at Rob0797, also the creator of
White Owl.
White Owl Comics and Zack Snyder super fan. Huge fan of the Snyderverse films. And you probably see me and him discussing them several times, as well as lots and lots of other topics. And he's also a chocolate milk aficionado,
Oh,
which I admire.
okay.
Anyway, so he suggested the movie Enemy.
Hmm.
Said, yeah, he was like, "Oh my god, this movie blew his mind. What he has so many wants to discuss it with someone so mad."
Mm.
So we took a suggestion. Cap, what did you think? You just watched it this morning.
So I
I
just
watched
watched
it
it.
last night. So what
Hmm.
did you think?
What a weird little movie. Like a good movie because it's a slow burn, but I know. I guess because I walked in not knowing anything about this movie. So Jake Gyllenhaal
I
would be
knew
the
absolutely nothing about it either. I've never even heard of it
right.
until you
Never heard of it.
suggested it.
I didn't even see what year it came out, and I can usually spot when movies.
2013.
23. Okay. Um, Jake Gyllenhaal is a sexy son of a bitch. It is a movie that follows two, I guess, identical twins or something.
Well, okay, yeah, like what do you? Okay, so this
So
movie is a movie that
it's
a
an
lot of
odd
people have
movie.
had different. Yeah, so a lot of people it's heavily in the metaphors and heavily so and people everybody has a different opinion to what you actually saw because like some people are saying one thing, other people are saying another. So I was just curious, like, what did you think happened in this movie?
So is this almost like a Fight Club type thing where it's both dudes? Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Fight
Yeah,
Club.
oh yeah, we're going to be talking. You can't
You
discuss this
can't
film.
discuss it. So you know what this movie is? This was this. Okay, here's a better thing. This sort of reminds me of Moon Knight a little bit, where
Okay.
it feels like this guy could possibly be living two lives, or again more like Fight Club type thing. I kind of think that's what was going on in this because these
Okay.
dudes were identical down to the scar and everything, and it just so. I guess we should.
What about the spider? Where do you think the spider fit in?
I don't know. You talk.
Okay. Well, I was just curious because, like, I heard some people saying that they believe this movie is about an invasion of spiders because there's like a giant spider like walking across the city at one point, and then at the end, the big thing is he goes see his wife, and she's this massive spider, and she's like, "Oh fuck!" Like you see the spider do that,
Right.
and then in the beginning of the movie,
There's the spider or the tarantula with the.
yeah, and then you're right, and then you're following the movie follows this one main character, Jake Gyllenhaal, but then it turns out like there's an actor version of Jake Gyllenhaal as well as the
Right.
professor version,
Right.
and you're like, what the hell? And then like
They both
there's
have
like
similar
scenes, and you're
issues,
like,
kind of, in their
yeah, but
relationships.
there's scenes with like his wife interacting and his girlfriend interacting,
Right.
and you're just like, wait, what? And then I can explain it, or at least what I believe happened.
Mm.
So this, well, I mean, I did look it up afterwards. I will come clean, and the director basically confirmed exactly what I thought was happening.
Mm.
It's a story about a guy cheating on his wife,
Right.
but you're seeing it through his subconscious.
Oh, okay.
So they are one and the same person,
Mm.
but it's like, and there's a breakdown, a split. That's why his wife goes and sees them, and then they wait until he's off camera, and then she calls him.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom at the beginning is like, "You live in this shit apartment, and you've got no prospect." That was when he was an actor,
Mm-hmm.
and then we hear the talking about him later in the movie. She's like, "You got a beautiful apartment,
Right.
and a great job,"
Right.
and that's because now he's a professor. His
Right.
wife, she's like, "How is school?"
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So yeah, what had happened is this is him working that out for himself,
Mm-hmm.
and so he cheats on his wife
Yeah, because
with that woman.
yeah, with that woman who comes in and they, they're cutesy about it, but then she always goes home. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, she never.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
and that was his old apartment. That's actor Jake,
Right.
and then yeah, later Jake, which is the professor. Oh, and then the other thing that happened in it is the beginning we see is at some kind of weird sex club,
Yeah.
and then this is where the key comes in. The key is from that guy that who lets him into his own house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we see that guy, and he's like, "Oh well, I'll let you in." Then "Yeah, I really want to go back." And you're like, "What the hell is he talking about?" And that guy, at the beginning of the film, he was at that sex club,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, I heard they sent out new keys." And
Yeah.
then he opens, and that's the key to the sex club. So the whole thing is, he's like, we see him overcome this, and because that night with his wife, and she's like, "I want you to stay," and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that he's overcome it. He's with his wife now. Then he opens it. He puts it together. That's the key to the sex club. This is my cheating lifestyle.
Mm.
And he goes, "Honey, are you busy tonight? Because I'm going to be out for a while."
Right.
And he's decided that he's going to go back to the sex club.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the big reveal. Then he goes in to see his wife. His wife is the spider, because the spider represents women in the film,
Right.
and that's why she fucking runs back,
Yeah.
because he's the spider killer. He's that boot or that foot coming down to kill the tarantula at the beginning of the film. So she's startled because they overcame it, and then as soon as temptation came back,
Mm-hmm.
he fell for it.
But he was in that car accident also, right?
Yeah, but that was
That
was a metaphor for how toxic and bad
Yeah.
my relationship with that girl was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that might also have actually happened because of the scar, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's what that was about.
Right. Um.
At least this is a combination of him that I saw a director saying it's like the relationship. It's him cheating on his wife, but we're seeing it through the subconscious.
Mm.
That's the part I looked it up. Everything else, this is what I've kind of put together.
Yeah.
I watched this movie twice. I will. Okay, so I should love this film, but it put me to sleep both times. That could be my meds, but each time I fell asleep and then slept for several hours, woke. I'm like, oh yeah, and it felt like a slog.
It's a very slow burn.
I'm okay with slow burns, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, this movie's brilliant, and I think it is brilliant.
Mm.
It's a brilliant slog for me. That's the best way I can describe this film.
Yeah, I might have glanced away a couple times here and there during the movie to for various things,
Well,
but
to work it out, I had to watch it twice.
so I I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Again, to me it felt very Fight Club / Moon Knight ish, where you have, obviously this guy living two different things, and
I
it's
guess though, with Fight Club, if I'm going to compare it to that film, because of the dual personalities, I never was bored in Fight Club. I never was like oh god, when is this going to end? Oh, thank God it's over.
right,
Where in Fight Club, I was just fully enraptured in the film.
right,
I would the biggest bummer I have for Fight Club is I had no idea a twist was coming,
mm.
and someone who had seen the movie, he didn't tell me what it was, but he goes, "Have you figured it out yet?" And I was like, "Figured out what?" And then he's like, "Have you figured it out?" And I was like, "Oh, there's something to figure out," and that ruined it for me because I
Ah,
immediately went, "Oh, he's really him."
ah,
And so, but I wouldn't have figured it out if no one had prompted me that there was a puzzle.
right,
This movie, I think, was more obvious with it was a puzzle because the characters themselves were questioning the reality they were in.
right.
But yeah, I don't know.
So
But
I don't
tell
know.
me more about what you thought.
So let's see here. If I could, oh, one of the wives or his wife is pregnant. Throw that in there. It's was a little on the nose in hindsight. Looking back, I guess it was because you just see this guy just having a breakdown, and that's sort of like the first act of the movie is just you see his breakdown, and
Mm-hmm.
there's almost like this mystery element where he's just sitting reading a book, and a coworker's like, "Hey, check out this movie,"
Yeah.
and he checks it out, and he sees himself in the background, and I thought it was going to get like silly meta at first, like, oh, like Jake Gyllenhaal is going to confront his actor self, but I don't know. Again, it's a slow burn, and yes, did Fight Club
That
really?
interaction, I don't know what it is about that interaction. There was just something wholesome to it to me,
Yeah,
where he's like, yeah, as this random coworker, totally random. He's just reading a book, and he's like talking about, do you like movies and that, and he's like, not really. And then he was like, oh, well, they're pretty good. And then he's like, there was something kind of standoffish for a second. I think
yeah,
I just relate to this moment
yeah,
because I would say to someone that I would be like, is there a reason you're talking to me about this?
right,
And like a lot of people would take it like, but then he explains it like, oh no, I just meant, is there like a movie or something you saw recently you were hoping to discuss?
right.
And it's like I'm really interested. Sometimes I ask questions and people think I'm asking it in a way that I'm like attacking them,
Mm-hmm.
but really I'm just like, hey, yeah, let's talk about this shit.
Right.
Actually, there was a moment on Twitter. If we get to rants, I'll talk about it later.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I did like that moment. That was probably my favorite little part of the
Yeah,
film.
it's sort of like the
And
wholesome
then
moment of
yeah,
the
what I
movie.
liked about it is and he's like, well, what are you looking for? And he's like, something cheerful. And
Right.
I just love that response. And I started thinking like, what if I was gonna recommend a movie that's cheerful to someone? What would it be? I still don't know the answer to that question.
Ooh, a fun, cheerful movie.
I guess you know
You
what
know
I would
what?
recommend. Actually, I do have one.
Mm.
The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
I was going to say Shrek.
Okay.
Like, that's. I don't know. Is that really cheerful? I guess it can be at some point. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
But yeah,
I would say it's a cheerful film.
yeah. But the holiday special for sure. That's a great one.
Yeah, because the whole thing is just super cheery the whole way through.
Right. But anyways, on our ranking scale, what do you give Enemy?
I don't know, man. I've struggled with this one. I feel like I can't give a film. It's okay. I admire the shit out of this film.
Mm,
Let me just say that. But I have to give it a you got to do what you got to do because I struggled to get through it. And I can't see myself giving a shut up and take my money if I and here's the problem with I think our scale cuts to the meat of things, what movies I want to watch, which versus what movies I don't.
mm-hmm.
Um, but it also doesn't take into account things like I could give a movie that's actually worse than this a better rating just because I had a good time.
Right.
And but I think having a good time is the key of a good movie.
Right.
So that's why I think to me it's a you got to do what you got to do. I admire the movie. It was just like I said, a slog. I struggled to get through it.
Okay. So I am actually going to be the one to give it a low end of a shut up and take my money. Are there better movies? Yes. Was this movie for just just like in the movie? Guy suggests a thing, you watch it blind. What's your reaction? I wasn't sure what to expect, and what I got was
How creepy would wait. How creepy would it be if we saw ourselves in this movie?
oh
Because
man,
it's like this was a suggestion to us,
right,
and then we're like, oh, cool, and then we're watching a movie about a movie that gets a suggestion. He sees himself, and we see
right,
ourselves like in that same movie. Like, oh
right,
my god, we're in some kind of someone's gonna call me and tell me I'm gonna die in 7 days. Like, what did Rob do?
right.
Like, that
um,
would have been a good movie.
damn us all. Um, anyways,
Like some character is watching a Pitch Nerds podcast.
right.
Like,
That's funny. But with that said, I give it a low end of the shut up and take my money. Is it a bit sloggy? Yes, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It's very, I wouldn't say very artistic, but it's just one of those low budget, just artsy films where all the budget went to Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's cast him twice. Um, they maximize their budget. I couldn't tell what city they were in though. Was it Ontario?
I guess sometimes movies, in my opinion, that are excellent tier. I think this is an excellent tier movie.
Yeah, right.
I just I'm not a film snob.
Right. So this is like a film snob movie. This is one of those like art house movies that wins all like the independent movie awards. Like this is that movie.
Well, like, do you remember that movie Hugo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's like people love the shit out of that movie. This is the best movie ever.
I remember
I was
watching that and not giving a shit.
I was sat next to my best friend watching that film, and I just whispered over to her. I'm just like, when is this gonna be over? And she just burst out laughing, and then she was like, I know. And then we were both came out of the movie like that was like the longest, most boring thing I've ever seen ever.
Right.
And like the reviews were like brilliant, the best shit I've ever seen ever.
Right.
Like, I guess I compare it to like not exactly, but like what is it, 2000 whatever,
2001 Space Odyssey? Yeah.
Yeah, it's I get it, but God, like,
Just bring it down a notch.
yeah, I mean, can we see some robots punching each other in the face or something?
Right.
And people
Can
are
anything happen? Can anything at all happen?
people are calling me a moron because of that, but like, no, I don't know. I find certain things entertaining, and I find other things not. Even though I can admire it from an artistic point of view.
Right.
Anyway, it is your turn.
So you know what? We are going to visit a movie that I think I know I've seen, but just not in decades and decades and decades. It's on Disney Plus. We are going to be watching Black Hole. True story. The lead actress is actually, her first name is, well, Mrs. Cap is named after the lead actress from this movie. So, Disney's Black Hole. I vaguely remember the robots. I think one's name was Vincent. That's really all I remember
Is
about
this
this
like
movie.
an old film or a
Yeah,
new film?
it's an older film. It's about a black hole and there's robots.
All right.
Yeah, should be fun.
All right, so tune in next week where we will be discussing Black Hole. We encourage you guys to watch the movie and join us. I'm sure that when Rob sees this, because if he was here, he would have chimed in. But he'll watch the replay, so you'll probably hear this debate go on Twitter. So I encourage you to check us out on Twitter. I'm sure Rob and I will be talking about this at some point in the week.
Right.
And also let us know what you guys thought, on Twitter or Facebook. Did you like the film, or on YouTube as well? Sorry, we always check all our YouTube comments. Yeah, did you like the movie? Did you agree with us? Do you have different opinions? I'd love to hear it.
Right.
So, and then tune in next week where we'll be discussing Black Hole. Let's see, what do you want to do next? You want to do some battle nerds?
Yeah, let's do some battle nerds.
All right.
You rattle it off. I'm stepping away really quick. Rattle off what battle nerds is for all of the fans.
So battle nerds, this is our weekly competition. We created a list of 100 iconic characters, and we random roll to see which character we get. And then we have to come up with a convincing argument as to why our character would win in a battle. The rules are you can pick any version of a character, and yeah, we just try and see if we can come up with these arguments. Then they can be very random. You could have Lassie going up against Godzilla, who are both on the list. Interestingly enough, neither have fought, so it'll be interesting to see if that ever happens.
So I rolled He-Man, and
Yep.
Mr. Frosty rolled the Mandalorian. Now, to scale this down, I did decide to go with the Dolph Lundgren version of He-Man. Oh, wait, this is going to be a Beholdners one of these days.
Well, so we also got to announce last week's winner. So last week's winner was a battle between Power Girl and Jessica Jones. I thought my argument was pretty good.
was
But I had
entertaining.
Jessica Jones. But you guys totally disagreed, and you thought Power Girl would just go, "Buh," and like there was only
Explode.
there was only a single vote for Jessica Jones.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad for her, to be honest. I like her character too.
I mean, that's how it goes.
Yeah, I know, but I just thought some nerd out there would be like, "Yeah, Jessica Jones," you know.
Anyway.
So He-Man versus Dolph Lundgren's.
Dolph Lundgren's He-Man versus the Mandalorian. So
versus Mandalorian from the series The Mandalorian. This is Din Djarin.
Right.
So yeah, Cap, what's your argument?
Oh
for
my
Dolph
goodness, Dolph Lundgren. So I guess we should set up like a premise, like where they're fighting exactly. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, they're both kind of in similar universes.
Yeah.
So I would just have it the Mando's like, gotta bring him in.
Yep, gotta bring him in. Some skeleton man's paying the bounty. Blah blah blah.
I want him when he's got his like full armor, though. I don't want like.
Okay, so you're going with like the current Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he left Grogu behind because I don't need. Well, I mean, I guess Grogu would be an event. No, he left Grogu behind.
Okay. So let's see here. So He-Man has his sword. In the movie version, he actually uses a little pew pew. He does have some like a laser rifle.
Well, I'll tell you why I win. I'll be real fast.
Well, if I'm allowed technology from my universe, they do have like flying vehicles and whatnot. So,
did they have him in the movie though?
Yeah, they did. No, they did have him in the movie. They did introduce some of the, I mean, not necessarily some of the cooler shit from the TV show, but they did have vehicles in the movie. So, I mean, if you
then
just...
I
go, yeah, that would definitely happen. However, we've never seen Mandalorian fight like that. I think if he were to bring in somebody, exploding them from his what's it called now? It doesn't have the name, does it?
I can't remember.
I don't remember. But
my meds are kicking in hardcore, so I've gotten super wasted since we're talking because I'm like they make you so dizzy. It's like I'm having a hard time sitting upright.
It's the Norco, right?
No, it's the usual heart and blood pressure medication.
Oh shit! Ugh.
This just happens to me now.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But
But
anyway,
anyways, so I mean,
we can bring it to the ground.
let's bring it to the ground. I think that's a little bit more.
I just was like, I was like, how am I gonna beat him? Because on the ground he's a little bit dangerous. And I was like,
Right.
just don't go there. Like,
Death from space. Though I will concede that Mandalorian would probably explode Dolph Lundgren's Superman from his Nubian.
You're saying he would win an air battle?
I mean, he would win an air battle. I will concede that, yes. But the fans didn't tune in for that. They want to see Mandalorian purple as vibroblade. Actually, here's the question: are you going to allow him his the dark saber or no?
Yeah, but I think it's fair. It's going up against the power sword. I don't see the dark saber cutting the power sword.
No, so you are going to give him the dark saber. Well,
and he kind of sucks with the dark saber anyway.
Right. So if you I think if he were to have the
I
dark
don't
saber,
even think. No, I mean, give him the spear.
Okay. Okay, give him the spear. Okay. So he has the spear. I see the two being able to be toe-to-toe with their weapons.
But let me allow a concede.
Okay.
Do I think the Mandalorian could beat Dolph Lundgren hand-to-hand? And I'm not talking Dolph Lundgren. I'm talking just Dolph Lundgren. No. Like, the only thing that's keeping him up is that armor.
It's the best armor. Right.
And the thing that's always bugged me in the Mandalorian series is that he's getting punched and shit.
Right.
I'm like, and he's like,
It's like,
and I'm like, that's gonna be absorbing a shitload of that. Like,
right.
But then we have to amp Dolph Lundgren because he's He-Man.
Right.
So I don't know. I think definitely Dolph Lundgren.
I can see him winning. So for starters, he's a much better fighter with the sword, of course. I think the weakness, and we've seen how easy it is for it to pop off. I think almost like Juggernaut. You treat this battle like Juggernaut, where once you find a way to remove the helmet, then he's vulnerable. And
I don't see that. I see. If I'm totally honest, He-Man's gonna smack the shit out of him if he gets in close. The armor's gonna give him some protection,
right?
But he was getting his ass kicked by Gina Carrero or whatever,
right?
And she was just punching his helmet,
right?
And that's what I mean. Then we amp that to Dolph Lundgren. Then we amp that to amped Dolph Lundgren. The armor's gonna give him some protection, sure, maybe. Right. His whole thing is he's gonna have to outfight him.
Right.
He has better weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, He-Man's got a patoo. But I mean, he's a walking armory,
right?
And he's got his jetpack, so he's more mobile. So he's gonna be, as weird as it sounds, because he's got his armor.
He's gonna be keeping his distance.
Light infantry versus like heavy armored vehicle, right?
Right.
And
so here's how I see it. If I can turn the audience's attention to Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, to show just where the soft spots are on the Mandalorian armor. Here you have the Jango Fett going pew 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 pew, and here's Mace Windu like, bro, really? Clean cut right at the neck, bypasses all armor, just a clean cut to the neck.
Right, but so here's my argument. Is I'm a melee guy in every game I play.
Right.
But in the real world, melee loses against ranged every time. Right. And then he does have big ranged attacks as well.
He does. And he's got his rocket launcher. He's got his...
Yeah. So if we bring it to the ground, even though he's on the ground, he's still got air superiority. I think it's fair enough I get my jetpack.
That's fine.
And I'm just going to rain down like shit until you drop.
Just death from above.
And that's why he wins. It's ranged beats melee. But go ahead, tell me why. Like, what's your summation as to why?
So I think before he even realizes that what He-Man is actually capable of, because in your scenario, he gets smacked upside the head. And he's like, "Oh shit, I'm going to come up here and go." So I don't even think he'll get that far. I think, if you were to just plop the two of them down after ching 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 exchanging some blows. Mandalorian armor is vulnerable at the joints with a clean enough cut. And I think He-Man is a smart enough fighter to exploit that, and strong enough to exploit that, as we saw Mace Windu do, where he just completely beheaded Jango Fett quite easily.
Yeah, I mean, if we're allowing them to get into melee, I will could see. I don't even think he needs a power sword. I just think he could grab him, boom,
Right.
and like a couple of those punches and it's over.
Right.
It's kind of like
but
Captain
I
America
will
versus
I will
Iron Man.
yeah, but I will concede at a distance. Absolutely, give it to Mandalorian. But then again, can He-Man wither the storm, weather the storm, until Mando runs out of ammo or something, or maybe he just runs out of fuel for his jetpack, and it forces him back down onto the ground. That, or while he's on the ground, He-Man just pick up a big rock and just chuck it at him. I mean,
Yeah.
there is that
No,
too.
He-Man's a badass opponent, and and it's made more. It's weird because I'm like, if we're talking cartoon, or He-Man takes it,
Right.
but even this version of He-Man, which in my mind is the worst, most disgusting version of He-Man, because it's Dolph Lundgren,
Right.
you're like, fuck, it's Dolph Lundgren.
Right.
And that's just because of how badass that man is.
Right.
I don't know if you know this.
He is a PhD.
Movie. Well, I don't know if you know this. In the Rocky movie,
Mm-hmm.
Stallone was like, no, let's just do one where you actually hit me.
And put him in the hospital.
Stallone was in great shape, super
Right.
muscular dude. And Dolph Lundgren was like, I don't want to hit you. Because do you know Dolph Lundgren is like, he's actually like an insanely good fighter.
Right.
And the dude is a mountain.
Right.
So you combine those two things. Anyway, so he's like, I don't want to do it. And then Stallone convinced him. And then he hit him. And then Stallone's in the hospital. And they were like, well, they didn't believe him that he got hit on the set. They thought he was trying to cheat his insurance because they were like, there's no way a human could have done this to you. Wow. They were like, you got in a car accident.
And you're trying to lie for the insurance?
They didn't believe him. That's how hard this man punches.
Right.
So then I in my brain, I'm going, Pedro Pascal. You know? Like,
you know what? Dolph Lundgren to me is Professor Hulk. Like that's who he is in my head. He is extremely intelligent, but
he's Professor Hulk combined with a military background. This man has killed.
Right.
I mean, he's like it's like Professor Hulk plus Navy SEAL.
Right.
I mean, and it's insane. I mean, you heard the story about the thieves that broke into his house, right?
Oh, the ones that apologized for breaking into Dolph Lundgren's house.
I might have mentioned this before, but thieves broke into Dolph Lundgren's house. They didn't know it was Dolph Lundgren. They broke into someone's house, tied up his wife, were helping themselves to shit, saw a family photo, went, oh, fuck, Dolph Lundgren, put everything back carefully, untied the wife, apologized profusely, said, please, 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 we're so sorry, and left. All because they saw his photo. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's very few mortal men that are Dolph Lundgren, you know?
Right. But I think that just about wraps it for our argument. So it is up for you guys to decide. We'll throw up some polls on our.
So your argument is basically he could cut him in half with the sword by exploiting weaknesses in the armor.
Yeah.
My argument is I got to stay the fuck away.
Right.
And just kill you from a distance with powerful weaponry.
Right.
Which the Mandalorian is good at. So, that's where he excels, really.
Right.
He's okay and close.
I can see the Mandalorian trying to jump away on, or trying to poof away on his jetpack, and Dolph Lundgren just jumps up and grabs him by the foot and just brings him back down to the ground and just starts punching the shit out of him. That'd be great. Like, gotta get away. He's like, nope. Just grabs him and just smash.
Well, we'll put up polls on Twitter and Facebook. You guys can vote. You can also message us, leave comments, whatever you want to do. Let us know who you thought won the debate, which argument rose to the top. I guess we can roll for next week.
I rolled a 45.
That's probably too high. Definitely probably too high.
All right. Too high.
You got to roll under a 38.
I got a 35.
Okay, well, I'm fucking your character that I didn't want on the list, but you got Eric Cartman.
Yes! Oh!
I'm just keep rolling. Okay, I got
That's
one.
fine.
This is a weird match. This is Eric Cartman versus Iron Man.
It's already starting to piece together in my head.
I don't know which Iron Man to go with.
Demon in a bottle.
I mean, when I saw it in my head immediately, I was going, I am Iron Man. But you know, I know you would go like the canceled route or whatever. I mean, like
no. So of course it's Cartman, but I need to remember what his superhero character is, or his wizard character from the video games. Just go that version and just treat it like an episode of South Park.
But he did do a superhero. There is the
the Coon. That's right. He's best friends with Cthulhu. Boom.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll tune in for whatever the hell that's going to be next week.
The Coon.
And vote on who you thought won this one.
Oh man, this is going to be a good one next week. Let's see here. What do we have? What do we have?
Yeah, well, we got Unicorn Warriors and Shazam.
Let's talk Shazam real quick.
So I already saw Shazam. You got to know that I really, really enjoyed it. Shazam 2: Fury of Gods. Cap finally saw it. Cap,
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Also, we're talking spoilers now.
Yeah, we can talk spoilers. It was a fun movie. You know what? Yesterday, got home a little bit earlier than I thought I would. Got ordered us some pizza. Had a fun movie pizza night, and we watched Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I thought it was a charming little movie. I thought it was fun. It's a fun movie, and it sucks that people didn't enjoy this movie for what it was because of the canon. Like,
yeah, I immediately thought the same thing. I had such a good time watching this film,
right?
And well, I don't think it's like it's kind of the opposite of the Behold Nerds movie we saw,
right?
You know what I mean? Like where that's all like deep and like like makes you think, and this is just like no, this is a fucking dragon,
right?
You know, and like my favorite part in the whole film though, besides the dragon and some of the cool fight scenes and stuff, was the gods reading the note. I was dying.
That's so good.
Because you're just seeing it from their perspective.
Right.
But we, as the audience, understood the other side of that equation.
Right.
You just
it was perfect. It was perfect. It was funny.
Yeah, like that sounds. You think we need to proofread? Nah, dude, that sounds good. Yeah, I feel really good about this, bro. Like, you know.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say this: if you pay close attention to the post credit scene where they bring back what's the worm's name, Mastermind or whatever,
yeah,
they could still tie this into the canon, and the James Gunn universe could just be a part of Mastermind's overall plan.
I don't know. I think you got to kind of end this Shazam because Billy Baxton's gotten.
All right, that's fine, but that's fine. But Mastermind, I want to see more of the worm. James Gunn.
I enjoyed what we got. I didn't really even think about it because I just had such a good time. I enjoyed seeing them move on. Like, okay, cool. Like, we've got this. We've set up our lair, and I enjoyed them like exploring it.
Right.
And it was just, everything was funny. Everything was interesting. Everything was when they did cool superhero stuff. It was cool superhero stuff.
Right.
And yeah, I every character I just enjoyed. I just can't find a fault with this movie. I just don't think it's.
It was a fun superhero movie. It is a
I think it's a movie where you get what you get.
Yeah, you
know what I mean. Like and it's not trying to be something that it's not,
No.
and it's just a good time,
So
and
order some
it's
pizza, gather the
funny, and
family, and watch it, and you'll have a great time. And that's what we did.
yeah,
It was family movie pizza night last night. It was just fun. Everybody loved it. Um,
yeah, and that's what I mean. It's a shame that this movie didn't do better because it really is a fun movie. You know, like just watch it, enjoy it. I can see my parents not liking it because my parents don't like fantasy. If you're not into fantasy, you're not gonna have a good time.
right.
But yeah,
I loved every scene. I was going to say every scene with Gal Gadot in it, but she was really only in that one scene at the end. But it was funny to see her interacting Wonder Woman with Shazam.
I don't know if you know, people are pissed off about the after credit scene.
Yeah, so it took me a second to like see what I was watching. It's like, oh my god, that's them from Peacemaker, and it's even shot kind of like Peacemaker too, because you know how you have the color palette and tone of the movie, and then you cut to something else and it looks a little different. Like,
Yeah, it's a nod to the Black Adam movie.
yeah. So they were trying to set him up for the Justice Society, not the one with
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Well, those are two really similar." It was just played for laughs.
Yeah.
And
Avengers
people were
Society.
mad because James Gunn. People that hate James Gunn, they're mad because James Gunn decided to put his wife in the after credit scene to tie it to his kind of Peacemaker world.
Right.
And people were like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." And there was some other actor that was supposed to be the after credit scene.
Did they not
I
like
don't
Peacemaker?
know. All this stuff is stupid. It was a fine little nod. I didn't care.
Right. It was funny. The Avengers Society. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's the movie right there. Just hearing him walk up, it's like, they say he's a bit immature, and he's just there doing pew 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 pew.
Yeah.
They captured it. It is a teenage boy with the body and superpowers.
The one problem, if I had to give Shazam a problem, and then I think that's in both movies, and this movie's mostly in the Shazam form, but I don't buy that they're the same person, because the Shazam character's like, haha, I'm fun, and then the other one's like a brooding. Yeah, and but you know what though, this movie, it had heart when it needed it. The whole like when he finally called her mom and she's like, let me see my real Billy, and then like that moment of like, I'm your mom, you will never leave this house,
right?
And she cried, and that's nice,
right.
It was nice, it warmed my heart.
It's a wholesome family movie.
It's wholesome, it's heartwarming, right. It's fun, it's action packed. The action is cool superhero shit, but nobody really gets hurt, so you don't have to worry about upsetting your kids.
Right.
I mean, I guess people do die in this, but it's done in a very kind of never-ending story way, like they have beautiful deaths, and it's funny. It's just there is nothing I didn't like about this movie. It's 100% just shut up and take my money.
Right. Shut up and take my money. Speaking of superhero movies, I saw Spider-Verse. You haven't seen it yet, but absolutely phenomenal fucking movie. I will say this, if I'm going to compare this to the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe, if the first movie was a Miles Morales story focused on Miles Morales, the second movie is a Miles Morales story that sort of focuses around Gwen, Spider-Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
It still has a ton of Miles Morales. It's still his story about him, but it's sometimes told through the lens of Spider-Gwen. So I would liken it to that.
A lot of Twitter is doing exactly the stuff I don't want to talk about anymore about this movie.
But it was it's so good, and it gave us was it Punk Spider-Man or Metal Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And he was the showstopper every time he was on scene.
A lot of time the side characters are, because they can kind of just react to what's going on.
Yeah, in their own way, and
versus the protagonist, which they are kind of the voice of the audience. So they're less charismatic.
Right.
Like in my opinion, in all of film, the best Wolverine thing, even taking into account Logan, which was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
It was when they were like, "Hey, would you like to join the X-Men?" And he's like, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, go fuck yourself. That's Wolverine. If I can show that,
It was just so perfect, and like, yeah.
right. Um,
Um,
anyway, so this movie was phenomenal, and it saddens me that people on Twitter are probably
it's
saying when I
doing well, dude. Just don't be saddened
no,
because this movie is doing very well.
it is so good. But if I could fault it for one thing, is that it didn't advertise itself as a part one, because it is a definite part one. It ends right when it's oh, we've reached Isengard. All right, now let's cut to credits and wait for the next movie. It's like no. Um, so it does that, but that aside, not too much spoiler. Was it Spider-Man 2099 is the villain? I forget his.
Yeah, I heard that, which is I thought was weird because I don't think that guy's a villain, but
So they they explain why in the movie.
I'm sure
It's
they do. Don't tell me anymore. But
yeah,
like,
it's actually it's all about the canon, yo. Gotta protect that sweet, sweet canon.
I'm gonna a lot of this movie's gonna be ruined for me on Twitter, so let's keep it down. But so your rating,
Oh,
just so
shut
I'm
up and take my
thinking,
money. It's
okay.
again, just walk into it. It's a Miles Morales story. There's plenty of Miles
You
Morales.
know me, I'm not gonna care about
It's
that shit.
just sometimes told through the lens of Gwen Stacy. It doesn't take away from Miles Morales, folks. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah.
it's the same story. Just, hey, what's going on over here? Because it ties into the main character who is Miles Morales. So, anyways, that's my rating. Shut up and take my money.
All right, well,
It's a lot of great Easter eggs. You'd love it.
Unicorn Warriors Eternal. We got episode 8. Just dropped.
The
What do you
season
think?
finale. So the season finale of Unicorn Warriors
I
Eternal
apologize, dude. I'm not perfect.
left on a bit of a cliffhanger to my chagrin. Hate it when things do that.
We got
No,
2 more
we got 2
episodes.
more episodes. No, this is it's always good. So we were. My goodness, what happened in this one? Here, help me. What happened in this one?
I'm trying to remember too. My brain is mush,
Oh.
dude. Drugs.
So
I mean, medically prescribed, but yeah.
right.
What happened? So we find the guy. He's a werewolf now.
Yeah.
And they go searching with Merlin to find the evil or whatever. There was a train sequence, right? Oh, that
Yeah,
was
that's
against the
it.
werewolf.
Right.
And Merlin pairs up everybody. So the story is kind of still about these 2 characters, their love triangle with Emma/Melinda.
Right.
Except the one guy now has powers and he can compete with the elf.
Right.
Because he's a werewolf, and the werewolf is very formidable.
Right.
So they get paired together as they search for the evil, and then it hints at the end, spoilers, that Merlin was the evil all along or something.
Yeah. A little bit.
Because he seems to be attacking Emma/Melinda.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's where we're at in the series. It's an excellent series. It keeps every episode it changes, I think, one thing, and then the next episode makes me think another.
Right.
And I'm not bored by it. Like, it's not like, oh no, like, I think it's what makes it interesting.
I like that we have Copernicus back. He's my favorite.
He is.
Oh, I love Copernicus. I like those silent characters that just sort of react to people around them. Like R2 is the same way, where you can sort of understand their personality, even though they just articulate, they speak in like beeps and shit. Just I like that.
I like the monk kid just because
he's my second favorite.
I just like the idea of those characters that are like, I see through the universe.
Like, ooh,
and like,
look at this. I like he's upside down because it helps him see better. Just weird things like that are just fun little details. But shut up and take my money. We have 2 more episodes. Hopefully we get more of this. I'm glad that Gendy's getting more work. Brilliant animator. Brilliant storyteller. I want Titan to come back, damn it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this other show that he's doing as well about the dog.
Yeah, I need to look that up once we go offline because if it's, I remember seeing a trailer for a dog thing, but I thought it was a movie that I thought again was
Might be a movie. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, this series so far, I guess the only thing when I usually associate this guy with is action,
Mm-hmm.
and there is action in this, but it's not like necessarily as action packed as I thought. But I think the animation and the sound,
Mm-hmm.
it's got more of a Fantasia feel to it.
A little bit.
And like, you know what I mean? It's like the music, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, and like the cops coming out
Yeah.
of the shadows. And so
That's a great little scene. Just
yeah,
out of nowhere, here's this great little Fantasia scene.
yeah, it actually reminds me. Have you ever seen the Fletcher 1940 Superman cartoons?
Yes.
How
Look up in
freaking
the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
how amazing are they? They like anytime someone's like, "Oh, this is the best version of Superman," and it's Henry Cavill, I'm like, "All right, they understood it more," and I'm like, I can find a version, a 5 minute animated short
Mm-hmm.
that is like 1,000 times better, and the animation, I don't know if you know it, those it's the equivalent of a Game of Thrones episode, but
Really?
condensed into 5 minutes, and that's why the animation is so gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I can't think of a more iconic Superman. That is the pinnacle Superman.
So it's funny when I was a kid, they used to. I'm sure you can still find them in like the bargain bins, but they have back then they had the VHS tapes that had like the little cartoon segments on it, and they would throw that into the on TV when when I was at the after school program every once in a while.
Mhm.
Just you know, hey, let's throw something on, and it'd be that Superman. It was cool. Good grief! I think there's one. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, where there's like a building collapsing, and he like grabs it, and he's able to like
Yeah,
save
well,
the building.
I mean, it's all hand drawn,
Yeah,
and it's the idea of taking, like I said, a Game of Thrones. That's the equivalent of it today.
yeah, just the
Like
budget.
the equivalent of a Game of Thrones budget,
Mm-hmm.
and then squeeze that into a just 5 minute animated short.
Right.
And that's why it just looks so incredible. Like, yeah, that's the thing when someone's like, "Oh, blah blah blah, had good animation." I'm like, yeah.
God, I probably haven't seen that. Like,
Watch this, and then you just bring up like there's entire things on YouTube.
I'm gonna look
And
this
then,
up because if it's the one that I'm thinking of, I haven't seen this since grade school.
well, it's the guys that it's what's his name, Fleshner. He did all the Looney Tunes stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these are gorgeous. They were made to go at the beginning of movies, and they wanted, like, I can't remember the budget. I think it was 100,000, which it doesn't sound huge today, but and back in the 1940s that was insane.
Right.
And then they're like, no, but we'll give you 50,000, and then you're just like, that's insane. 50,000 in 1940s money for a 5 minute short.
Right.
And there's tons of them, and you can just hit the playlist and just like your jaw is on the ground the whole time. And the characters are perfect.
Right.
It's like perfect Clark, perfect Superman. And it just gets it. It's like it gets the character, you know, like that's what I mean. I just love these. They're like quintessential Superman. Anyone that says Cavill, and even Reeve. Like, did you notice the animated show, which a lot of people think is the quintessential Superman, the recent one, the Adventures of Superman, and it kind of ties into Justice League and all that.
Great series.
Yeah, great. I would argue that is my Superman, if not for these.
Right.
I still think that is my Superman because of that's the one I watched the most.
Right.
But his character is designed on those. He's supposed to be like,
just
it looks.
Yeah, strapping. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. But anyway, back to we're just talking animation now. But if you haven't seen those, check them out. They're on YouTube.
It's been over 30
Unicorn
years
Warrior,
since I've probably seen them. But anyways, yeah, Unicorn Warrior.
but I like it's got some of that bounce. That's where my brain went. Sorry, everybody, crazy tangent. That art, it's same that they did with Popeye. It's same with Steamboat Willie a little bit.
Yeah, the rubber band.
It's got that rubber bandy style to it.
Yeah.
that is
It's fluid.
just
It's a
gorgeous.
very fluid movement. It's
Yeah, and
pleasing.
animation is that's what that was built for. You know what I mean? So when you
Right.
see it in animation, like people were blown away by that game where you snap your fingers and shoot, really hard game. You don't. You're pressing buttons, but the characters do.
Oh. Oh.
Cupheads.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
People were like, this is brilliant animation," and it's like, yeah, it's an art style you don't see very often because it's like really
Right.
hard to pull off.
Right. Oh, gorgeous game. Super gorgeous game. Hard as fuck, but yeah, Gandhi, keep giving him money. I want I want him to make all the good things.
Yeah, but this guy has never like let me down. Everything he's done has been gold.
Yeah, I can't think of one property that he had that was like I didn't like. Apparently, he was supposed to do a Popeye animated thing a while ago. I'm not sure what happened with that because they released like screenshots of it and it looked okay. I would it was CGI'd, so it wasn't like his traditional like animation that he's known for. But I mean, it looked all right for Popeye. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's still in the works or not.
Well, we know he's gonna. The Unicorn Wars Eternal is like his
Passion
like
project.
yeah. It reminds me of we just watched Valerian and like
Mm.
Valerian with our French guys like love,
Right.
which can be good or bad. Sometimes these people when they get their like, this is exactly how I want to make it, and I'm not listening to anybody else. Some people like. I mean, I love George Lucas, but I think that's what the problem with the prequels
With the
was.
prequels, yes.
That and I think prequels. It's hard to do a prequel because a prequel. It's like anytime they're like, "Oh, let's look at Gotham City before Batman," and can Jim Gordon, save the day?
No, that's why you needed fucking Batman.
That's why. Yeah, we already know the end.
Right. That's why I never got into the Young Indiana Jones series. Like, it was good. It's just there's no peril here. Which is why, because I think we're doing Indiana Jones next as our thing. I think Indiana Jones should be treated as like a timeless thing. It shouldn't follow like a chronology.
Yeah,
I think it should just be like the adventures of.
The challenge is going to be is who do you cast?
Right.
Because like we did put a limit on this one. We don't have magic, so we can't just have like, hey, let's grab 1980s Harrison Ford out.
Right.
I mean, I guess you could if you choose to de-age, which people are. That's what we're seeing in this next film. So
yeah.
I did hear like there is. I think his name's Chris Stuckman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a reviewer I watch sometimes. I really hope he doesn't. If he ever watches this one day, he doesn't think I steal from him. It's just I'm watching him, and then I do Pitch Nerds, and I'm like, yeah, he made a lot of good points. So all credit goes to him. But I heard his review of Indiana Jones, and he said that the de-aging kind of annoyed him because you're just so aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought the movie was great overall.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. The early rabble is that it is oh my goodness. When you're awake, what do people call that? Woke. Yes, people are saying that the movie is woke because.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ! I already asked like 5 times. Can we just end that?
I know. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really care about the movie. I don't know. It's been years since I've seen Indiana Jones. I think I'm going to rewatch it eventually. I think we have them. So yeah, there it is. I'm looking at it.
Okay. So, but as far as Unicorn Wars Eternal, it's just I'm taking my money from both of us. We got a few minutes left, so I have a couple. So one thing, thank you, Kevin Smith, for liking our tweets.
Yay.
I mentioned briefly earlier this week. I was talking to Rob about oh god, what film? Endgame. People were talking about, or Infinity Wars. People were talking about the snap, and like how people were freaking out, and I was like, and like some people thought that was bad, and like people were reactions to it, and I was just like, well, comic book fans knew it was coming. And the reason people didn't like it is because it's unexpected.
Right.
It breaks story mold. You're not supposed to have the villain win.
Right.
And and then I said, I compared it to Red State, and I added Kevin Smith, and I said like, yeah, that was the whole plot of point of Red State is he was breaking it and breaking the mold.
Right.
And some people had a hard time with that. I actually thought that's what made that movie really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome. I love it when Kevin Smith likes our tweets.
Yes.
I did at him, but still, it's cool.
He's one step closer to joining us here on the panel. this close.
And then I asked this question of some of our followers. If you could, and I'll ask this question to you too, and I'll say what one of our followers answered. If you could have any superhero power set, and what would you choose? The only rule is your limitation is you can't choose any god tier characters.
Okay.
So no Superman, Silver Surfer, Thor.
If I were to just go with what I think would be interesting, I would say something along the lines of like Bishop. You're just that being able to like manipulate energy, like redirect shit, sort of along those lines.
Yeah, you mentioned that you like that power.
Yeah, I like that. I like energy manipulation. Like,
all right, so you're saying like Bishop, or you're saying it like I forget his name, the leader of the, oh god, that Hellfire Club guy that he can like if you punch him, he can absorb that, or like and then he punches you back harder.
So I suppose you can throw that all into the same power, but I also like that sort of like meta type
well,
of
you
power.
have to choose a specific character.
Well, I know. Good God, Skippy, let me talk out loud.
Okay.
So I also
you were saying throw it in. That's why I was like,
right. So I also like characters that are kind of meta. So Mr. Nobody from Doom Patrol is awesome. I love that power. But that's
kind of god tier.
That's god tier. So if I were to just go with power set, I would go Bishop.
Okay.
I would go more Bishop than just the energy absorption. And that.
What's that guy's name? Sebastian Shaw. That's who I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What would you do?
Well, my pick was the Invisible Woman. I think her power set is it's not god tier, but because it's what you're doing. It's what it's not.
It's what you can do with it.
It's what you can do with it. Yeah, exactly. And
right.
like, and that's the thing. She's almost god tier, but it's only because of what you can do with it. And I just think it's a really cool power set. But at Sonora Horror 3.
Okay.
Also known as Sonora Kiss. She said that her pick is Leiling, also known as Arrow, a character who can generate and control wind and air. Her character is in Marvel Earth 616.
Okay.
Not a character I was super familiar with. I looked her up. She's definitely awesome. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting pick.
Okay.
For those of you that haven't answered, I put this question to you guys: what's your pick? What power set would you want? Just no god tier characters.
It's 12:30. We should probably wrap it.
Yep.
Anyways, for those who watch, thanks for watching. For those of you who have not yet tuned in yet, how y'all doing? Help us out with all the algorithms. Like things, dislike things, leave comments, unsubscribe, subscribe. Just hit all the shiny buttons. Let's see here. Don't forget to vote for who you think won this week's Battle Nerds between Dolph Lundgren to He-Man versus The Mandalorian. Tune in next week. We're going to be talking about Behold Nerds. We're watching, was it Disney's Black Hole, available on Disney+. Potatoes. We like to end the quote with a show provided by Mr. Frosty. Yes? Commit to it.
Let's go to the Frosty show. That entire episode was us quoting our previous episode.
Yes.
All right. You expect me to search the galaxy for the home of this creature and deliver it to a race of enemy sorcerers?